Hello, and welcome to 25 Days of Christmas Comics. I am your host, the Dude Without Fear. So, I love Christmas, and I obviously love comic books. So, it goes without saying that I love Christmas comic books. Comics that take place during Christmas or revolve around Christmas. It just brings the magic of Christmas and comic books together, and I love them. And I wanted to do something special for my first Christmas with the channel. I just wanted to do something special for the occasion, to end the the year with a bang. You might think that it's pretty ambitious to do 25 days of videos every day, but I feel that if the Hallmark Channel can crank out 3 brand new Christmas movies a week, then surely to goodness I ought to be able to make a YouTube video a day. So, let's get started with day one of 25 days of Christmas comics. Today's comic we'll be reading from is DC's Christmas with the Superheroes, issue 1. Now, this was published in 1988, and it has a collection of 6 stories that range from 1968 to 1984. And I'm not going to focus on all 6 stories tonight. I just want to focus on my 2 favorite stories that are in it. The first one is called Wanted Santa Claus, Dead or Alive. This is a Batman story that is written by the great Denny O'Neil. The artists are Steve Mitchell and Frank Miller. Yeah. So, our story starts out, it's Christmas Eve in Gotham. Batman is swinging through the night as silent as the snowfall. He's thinking to himself that, even on Christmas, there's still crime. And as he's swinging, he sees this nativity scene that is set up, and the star for the nativity scene is gone. He sees that someone's stolen it, but he just notes it as he swings by. He doesn't want to deal with it right now. He's got bigger fish to fry. So then our story takes us into this bar where these girls in Santa outfits are hosting a party for a crime boss named Matty Lasco. And Batman busts the party and says that he wants some information from Lasco. He wants to know why he's got a boat waiting at the docks tonight, Christmas Eve. And he, of course, doesn't want to tell Batman anything, so he gets his people after him, and Batman makes quick work of him, and then Batman makes quick work of Matty Lasco, and he tells him that he did it for a favor for his old cellmate, Boomer Katz. Then Batman does what Batman does so well and disappears out of thin air. And then our story takes us to Crime Alley. And Crime Alley is, of course, the place where Thomas and Martha Wayne were gunned down in front of the young Bruce. It's the bad part of town, and the bad part of town in Gotham is real bad. Inside of this soup kitchen, there is singing and joyful hearts as the less fortunate of the city are being fed for the night on Christmas Eve. These 2 homeless men are talking, and one of them says, "Man, this is real good. It's almost as good as old Boomer's cooking." And the other guy's like, "Hey, what happened to Boomer? I haven't heard from him in a long time." The other guy says, "You hadn't heard? He's got a job as a Santa Claus over at the department store up the street." And so the one guy says, "Oh yeah, well I got places to be." And he leaves, and he gives one of the ladies a tip, and it's $1,000. And he just says, "Use it as you see fit." And she's kind of blown away. And once the man goes outside, he takes off his face to reveal that it's Batman, using one of his masterful skills at disguise. Then our story takes us into the department store, where Boomer is waving goodbye to a kid who just, whom he just played Santa Claus for. It's the last one of the night because the store's closing, and so Boomer goes to change his clothes, and the manager tells him that he's the best Santa that they've ever had. And that really touches Boomer and makes him tear up. Then outside, Boomer meets up with some people, and they ask him if he's done the thing. And he tells them that he couldn't. See, he was supposed to deactivate the alarm so that they could go in and rob the place. But he had a change of heart because he was truly appreciated at that job, and those kids really touched his heart. And just him doing a good thing for other people, it changed him, changed his heart, and changed his mind. So then they hold a gun to his face and say, "You're taking us in there, whether you like it or not." And so he goes back to the door and knocks on it, and the manager opens the door and he apologizes. "I'm so sorry, sir." And they rush in, and they're sticking him up, and they say they're going to kill Boomer because they have no need for him anymore. And Boomer throws some Christmas ornaments that are on a table at him and runs off, and they shoot at him, and he gets clipped, but he escapes, and he's running away. And Batman, on his way there, he's just outside the building at this point, and he hears the gunfire, so he bursts in and takes down the crooks. And he asks the manager where Boomer is, and he tells him that they took off after him outside. So Batman goes out, and he can't see the tracks because the snow is now no longer sleeting, but it's falling crazy hard, and it's covered up all the tracks. So he doesn't know where they went, which direction they are. And suddenly this light appears in the sky, and it shines down on them, and they have Boomer fixing to execute him. They've caught him, and Batman sees the star, and he follows it, and it leads him right to him, and he winds up saving Boomer's life. And Batman says, "Are you okay, Boomer?" He says, "Yeah, fine, only that star." And then the star goes away. He says, "It's gone again." And then Batman says, "Gone home, Boomer." And so the star that was missing from the nativity scene wasn't actually stolen. It was a Christmas miracle that the star itself helped Batman save Boomer's life. And our story ends with what they say is a passage from Luke chapter 1 verse 78, but it's actually verse 79, and it says, "To give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace." And what sticks out to me about this story so much, the thing that I enjoy about it, is that, one, it's Batman, written by Denny O'Neil, and art by Frank Miller. That in itself is way cool. But it's got that Denny O'Neil touch to it, where there's this hint of spirituality to it, mixed in with morals and the drive to be a good person because of what being a good person does. See, Boomer was going to rob this place blind. This was just another score to him. He didn't want the job for anything other than that. And the job itself, which was being kind to people and being kind to kids and seeing kids light up when you talk to them, and the kids showing love to you, that changed Boomer, and the appreciation from his boss changed Boomer. He had value suddenly. He felt valued, and because of that, he changed his ways and said, "Hey, maybe there is more to this. Maybe I don't have to do this thing. I can just do this. I can go the straight path." And it's just a touching story that warms the cuckolds of your heart. Now, we will go on to the second story that I enjoyed the most in this book, and it is a Superman story. And there is something about Superman and Batman comic books where there are a lot of Christmas stories from Superman and Batman. Stories around Christmas for those characters just have a kind of magic to them. So this story is from DC Comics Presents number 67 from March of 1984. This is Superman and Santa Claus in 'Twas the Fright Before Christmas. And so here our story opens. We have a Santa ringing his bell in front of a department store collecting money. And this kid holds this toy gun up to him and says, "Stick 'em up. Just hand over your money or I'll plug you." And so Superman sees this kid holding up this Santa Claus, and so he lands and rushes down. And the Santa Claus says, "Go on, kid, you're bugging me." And the kid says, "I warned you," and shoots a dart at the Santa Claus and plugs him in the nose. And then the Santa gets down in his face and says, "That wasn't funny, kid. Your little toy might seem harmless, but you could take somebody's eye out with one of those things."
You'll shoot your eye out! You'll shoot your eye out!
And then Superman takes the gun and uses his X-ray vision on it, his supervision, and says, "Actually, this toy isn't so harmless at all, Santa. My X-ray vision spotted some sort of secret mechanism inside, which has been projecting a concentrated beam of low-grade radiation at its user." And then the boy starts to repeat himself again. And then Superman says, "Notice how glazed the boy's eyes are. Somehow that radiation has hypnotized him." That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If there's one thing that I've learned from reading comic books since I was a young boy, it is that radiation can give you powers, give you strength, can change you, can alter you, can mutate you, but it can never, ever kill you. Superman asks the boy, "What's your name, son?" And he just keeps repeating the same line over and over. "Give me your money." And so Superman wraps him up in his cape and takes him off because he's going to find out what's going on. So he flies him to the Fortress of Solitude. And in the Fortress of Solitude, he uses some of his technology to de-hypnotize the boy, only to tell the boy that he's going to re-hypnotize him so that he can tell him what happened. And so the boy tells him that his parents think that, likes to pretend that Santa Claus is still real, but he stopped believing in Santa Claus a long time ago. But they hide his gifts to put out on Christmas Eve, while he's asleep to make him think that Santa Claus has come. So he goes and finds his gifts. And so he found the toy gun was one of his gifts. And when he pulled the trigger on it, something happened and he became hypnotized. And so Superman uses his hypnotism machine to find out what the instructions were that he was given. And the instructions were essentially to go rob these Santa Clauses and bring the money to Toyman. What better villain for a Superman Christmas story than Toyman? That's a good touch. Now that Superman knows what's going on, he wraps the boy back up in his cape, which he mentions is indestructible. And he does this because apparently indestructible means that this will also protect him from the treacherous cold outside in the North Pole. So as Superman and the boy is flying away, the boy pulls out a spaceship from his pocket and zaps Superman. So what this beam did is it increased Superman's mass and made him heavier and sucked his energy out. So he just literally drops like a rock. And so they land, and Superman's just like no energy, and he passes out, and the kid's trying to wake up Superman, but he can't. And the kid's pretty hopeless at this point, because if Superman doesn't wake up, he's gonna die. Suddenly he hears this voice say, "Alone," he says, "what are we, plum pudding?" And it's all these tiny little elves show up, and they pick up Superman, because apparently these elves are really strong. And they even mention that he weighs a ton. They carry Superman away. And then we see Superman coming out of his deep sleep, and he wakes up to all these elves standing over him. And he's like, "Where am I? Who are you guys?" And he's like, the boy says, "Isn't it neat, Superman? They found us in the storm and brought us here." And he says, "But just where is here?" And then Santa Claus shows up. And he says, "Here, friend Superman, is my top secret workshop at the very heart of the North Pole." And Superman's like, "Workshop? North Pole? That's impossible. You couldn't possibly be." And then he introduces himself as Kris Kringle, but most folks refer to me as Santa Claus. Superman gets up out of bed, and he's still really woozy, and Santa says, "Easy, friend. That gravity beam the Toyman hit you with was quite potent. Its effects still haven't worn fully off." And he's like, "How do you know that?" And he's like, "I'm Santa Claus, dummy. There's little I don't know." So he says, "Follow me to the command center and I'll show you." So they go in this room where there's all these computers and elves behind them. And he's essentially saying that this is how they monitor everybody to know if you've been naughty or nice. Then they go to Santa's workshop, and Santa shows him all the toys that are being made. He says that, all the state-of-the-art toys, finest in gifts and games. And Santa says, "Truth to tell, I often miss those simple toys of years gone by. The days of pop guns and wooden soldiers and China dolls and rocking horses seem so far away now." And Superman says, "My sentiments exactly." And Superman remembers a toy that his dad Jor-El built him on Krypton that was essentially a hologram projector that would just project creatures and stuff. And he loved that toy. And, he says, Superman thinks to himself, "The toys of our childhood are always the most precious to us." And that is a true sentiment. That is a true sentiment, because nostalgia is a powerful thing. And when you see like an old action figure or a car or toy that you used to have as a child. It just brings back all those good memories that you have of that toy. So that's 100% right. So then Santa says, "Well, my friend, that's all the time we have for the tour. There's a lot of work to do tonight, and there's also the toy man to deal with." And Superman says, "He's my problem." And Santa's like, "Superman, you're still not fully recovered yet. You're going to have to come with me. We'll get our hands on Toyman's records, and then we'll be able to go get all these other toys that he sent out to hypnotize these kids and replace them with real toys." And Superman's like, "But I think I can do that faster." And Santa's like, "Trust me, son, on this of all nights, no one is faster than me." So Santa and Superman embark out on Santa's sleigh, and they go to Toyman's shop, and Superman busts in through his chimney upon Santa's recommendation. And all the toys attack Superman, and Superman, still weak, is fighting them. And Santa, with a couple of his elves, says he needs some help, and so they unleash some of their own toy warriors. And so you've got Santa's toys fighting Toyman's toys alongside Superman, and they give him a good what for. And Superman stops everything and defeats Toyman's toys. And so they get the records, and Santa takes Superman and the boy to all these houses. They replace the radiation hypnotizing toys from Toyman with actual toys from Santa's workshop. So they've replaced all the toys except for the spaceship that the boy still has with him. Superman goes to get the toy from him, and it zaps him again. And it's just like, "Man, kid, you're just ruining Superman's day." And then Superman wakes up in the snow with the kid wrapped in his cape again, just like we left him before the elves found him. And the boy's like, "Superman, are you okay? Man, you really had me scared for a bit." And he's like, "That toy starship really packed quite a wallop." He says, "How long was I out?" And he says, "All I can remember is this wild dream I was having. There was reindeer and elves, and believe it or not, there was Santa Claus." And the boy goes, "Of course I believe in Santa Claus, Superman, don't you?" And Superman's like, I don't know what I believe anymore." So Superman flies the boy home and drops him off, and they wish each other Merry Christmas. And then Superman comes home, and he finds a gift waiting for him. And he opens the gift, and it is a hologram projector just like his dad had built for him. And Superman turns it on, and it's an image of Santa Claus holding a sign that says, "Merry Christmas, Superman." So this story has a lot of cheese to it, and I'm actually surprised that it came out in 1984, because it's got some of that good 70s comic book cheese to it. And you know, I'm not normally a fan of comics like that, but this story, I think the reason that makes this story appeal to me so much is, you know, Superman's right about it's the toys of our childhood that we always hold the dearest in our hearts, that we enjoy the most, and that have the fondest memories. And the scene where the boy talks about how his parents like to pretend that Santa's still real, and they hide his gifts and stuff, and he goes and looks for them. That was me as a kid. My parents never did the Santa Claus thing, but they hid my gifts because I would shake them and try to guess what they were and stuff. And I do honestly have an uncanny ability to guess things. And so, you know, I would do all that, and they started hiding them, and they would put them out on like Christmas Eve, really late, like 3 in the morning, because I would they would wait till I was asleep to do that. But and that was part of the so they would hide them and stuff throughout the December, and that was part of the excitement of Christmas to me is finding where my gifts were hidden. And I got really good at it. I knew most of the hiding spots, and then they found out that I knew most of the hiding spots. So one year they did something differently, and they kept all my gifts in the trunk of Mom's car. And so the winter wasn't harsh or anything like that, and so they're not going to get damaged or anything like that. And it wasn't that long before Christmas. I noticed that they were doing stuff with the trunk, and so when they were busy doing something else, I snuck out to the car and I opened up the trunk, and I was like, oh my gosh, jackpot. And I saw all this stuff that I was getting, and so then like the next day, that was probably like on a Sunday or something, but like then the next day I went to a Christian school, and my mom would sometimes volunteer to do certain things, like she volunteered to to direct the Christmas program one year and all this other stuff. And so she was volunteering to do something there. She was there for some reason. And so I asked her, I was like, hey, can I see the keys to the car real quick? I left something in there. Or something. I forget what I told her. I got the keys from her for somehow. And she says, sure, and gives me the keys of the car. And so we go out. I'm on recess at the time, and I go out with my friends, and I'm like, hey guys, come check this out. And I go and I open the trunk, and I was like, look what I'm getting for Christmas. And I show them all my gifts. And I don't remember everything that was in there, but the toy that I remember, the only toy that I remember that was in there was I wanted Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, and it was the kind that it's the handle, and it's got like the bottom row of lightsaber blade that's like fixed, and you toss it and the rest of the blade comes out, and it's got the blades in like 3 pieces that extends. She got me that, and I was so stoked. I was like, man, this thing is awesome. I was so excited to have that, and I love that lightsaber. It was one of my favorite toys, and it's still probably to this day is my favorite lightsaber that I ever owned. It is a way cool lightsaber. But this story reminded me of that, So that's why I enjoy this story so much, is because it helped me remember and think back on, Christmases of my childhood. And, things live on in your memory. And when, when you've had a hard year or things aren't going so well, you can look back on those memories, and those memories, reliving those memories in your mind, thinking about those memories can help bring some of that joy that you experienced back then into the now. And it's just a really cool thing. So that will conclude day 1 of 25 days of Christmas comics. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me that thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're made aware of when day 2 hits. So until next time, I wish you peace and goodwill. Good night.